Hey there, thanks for joining me. This is Patty Dominguez with episode 66. Today, I'm going to be sharing 3 ways to make sure that you are differentiating your business, even when you think that there is no differentiation available, because maybe it's in a crowded market or you're seeing a lot of the same things. So stick with me on this episode. I'll give you 3 quick tips, and I know this is going to help you differentiate. All right, here we go. Hey there, I'm Patty Dominguez. You're about to discover what it means to position your brand and your business to stand out. This show explores the stories of small business owners just like you who are bringing their message out to the world and impacting their tribe. So if you want to take your business to a category of 1 status, then hang with me, because this podcast shares everything you need to know about how to be more prolific with your brand so that you can have more profits. Hey there, thanks for joining me today on this episode. I am going to be sharing 3 tips just to check in with yourself to make sure you're differentiating yourself. Because how many times have you been in a situation, you cringe at the thought of somebody asking you, so what do you do? Or maybe, and truthfully, probably not as much right now with the whole COVID thing, but the whole concept of like networking events and events in general obviously are all at a standstill. But one of the things that comes up time and time again is people's confusion around this whole concept of what can I do to create differentiation, to highlight how I'm different. And that's exactly what I help with in Positioning to Profit. And so I wanted to just distill a very easy way to look at it in the way that how to differentiate really when you're not feeling that you're very different or you're not sure how you're different. And the reason I bring this up is because it's super common that every coach must have some kind of a certification, or they'll say transformation, or they'll say I can help people with their money consciousness, or to have breakthroughs, or to help them to transform, and the whole thing. So you start hearing the same vernacular over and over again, right? And just it just becomes more of the same. And coaches, there's a ton of them out there. And so there's no surprise why, if you are a coach and listening to this, you're probably thinking, yeah, that's true. I don't know how to differentiate. I'm not really sure. But the fact is that differentiation is relatively easy. Let me just say it that way. And the reason is because you just identify the advantages of a really important part of what it is that you do. And because my market is mainly coaches and consultants, I have to say that really important piece of uniqueness is very apparent in the way you do things, right? So that's going to help you to distill a process or a framework to draw out the thing that makes you unique, and different. And the reason is because I hope that you're not just focusing on your accreditation, certifications, your educational background, because that truly is not enough. I always say that's a great example of cost of entry, but it's not necessarily a differentiation. And so really that doesn't necessarily put you in a unique position. Now, everyone who's in the same market, where you might be a coach, you might be a life coach, or you may be a fitness coach, you might have gone through the same type of schooling or program for the most part, teaching this whole thing about how do you create a transformation, right? So, but what it doesn't mean is that you have to sound like everybody else. So not focusing on I'm a blah, blah, blah certification life coach. Who cares? That's not special. It's not different. And you basically just commoditize yourself, right? So what you have to do, or where the big opportunity is to stand out from the crowd by making a unique claim. And that unique claim is really your position. And how to parlay that is that you want to make sure that it's addressing a pressing problem, challenge with your premium prospect, your ideal customer, your ideal avatar, whatever it is you want to call them. And when you put yourself in that position where you're addressing a pressing problem or challenge, that is step 1. That's really what's going to help you to draw far and away just to be unique, right? And so what you really want to do is start by creating a list of your ideal customers' problems. Okay. think about the problems, the challenges, the fears, frustrations that they're having, and then ranking them, if you can, by level of severity. And really, you can brainstorm positioning statements that expresses how you solve for that challenge. And that is one way, because you're addressing immediately the thing that is most pressing to them, because it's not about your certifications, it's about what you can do for them. Everyone's channel is tuned into what's in it for me, right? WIIFM. So by doing this exercise, by literally just brainstorming what is the list of problems and challenges that my premium prospect or ideal customer, whatever you want to call it, that they're having. And then from there, you can rank them. Another great example is surveying, of course, or having 20 specific conversations around this and literally document this, because that feedback is gold. It's really easy to figure out then, right after you have crafted those problems, take a look at your competitive landscape. Who else is out there in your space? And chances are, because we're coaches, there's a ton of them out there. So just do a search for the competitors that are doing what you're doing at a grand level, let's say, at like those big wigs with the blue check marks on social, or the ones that you see right in your feed, or the ones that are well-known names. Let's just say that those are your competitors. And what you want to do is check on their websites to determine how they're positioning themselves. Because this whole idea of positioning is where you're wanting to capture that mind share in the mind of your target audience, your ideal customer. You really want to really create that as a goal, so that you're occupying that idea, right? So that you're positioning yourself, capturing that mind share as that go-to for that thing, for the different thing that you're going to be talking about. And you really want to focus on, how is it that I'm going to capture that mental space with my solution that is addressing my premium prospects' problems, so that I can form a meaningful rapport with them, so that they know, like, and trust me enough to pull out their credit card and invest in my program or coaching. Okay. So going through that competitive landscape work, it does take a lot of work, but I have to tell you, it is super important, and most people gloss over that. So do that with a minimum of 5 competitors, just to see what are their positioning statements, what are they claiming that you can take note of, to say, well, is there a new way for me to say this? Is there a unique way for me to say this? So that you're creating your white space. And that's really where the opportunity is just because you're in a bloody ocean of competition doesn't mean you can't carve out your own white space. And by doing that research, by looking at your competitors' websites, they're going to basically tell you how they are positioned if they've gone through this exercise of wanting to be positioned as unique, right? So that differentiation, by scoping out your competitors and the way that they're expressing their differentiation, right? Checking their websites, checking their products, checking their solutions, you can really analyze what it is that they're saying. What is the message that they are wanting to make sure that their ideal customer, which is the same one as yours, wants to capture. And so once you have done that homework of scoping out your competitors, taking a look at their websites, how they're positioning themselves, their products and services, of course, there's going to be some that are like what you have to offer. But again, you want to make sure that you're taking note of the claims that they're making, right? And so you want to make sure that you're using that as fodder for, okay, now that I know where everyone's at, where can I carve out my white space? Because it's really common for your competitors to make 2 or more claims of equal importance. So just kind of distill, what is it that they're saying? What do they want to be known for? Where is the consistency in how they want to differentiate and capture that mind share? I hope that makes sense. And then, of course, what you want to do is after you've done that, competitive landscape review, once you've really identified that target audience problem, then you want to really take note to differentiate yourself from that crowded market. Now, It is absolutely possible to do it. You just want to make sure that you're addressing that premium prospect, what their problem is. And because you're defining it in a new, unique way, because you're making sure that you're being consistent with your messaging of what it is you want to be known for and saying it over and over again, trust me, you'll get tired of saying your unique positioning statement way sooner than your audience will get from hearing it. And so you want to make sure that you're also showing those proof points, right? How are you proving that what it is that you're saying is actually the truth? Because people are going to be thinking, is this for me? Is this what I need? Do I really need this? So you want to make sure that you're addressing those potential objections. What is it that is going on in their mind? How are they distilling this information? How are you addressing those questions, clarifying questions that they may have? How are you highlighting what it is that makes you different? How are you identifying the gaps that they didn't know that they had, right? And so all of these things are in the name of creating that new conversation, in essence, disruption in their brain so that they're thinking, I haven't heard that. That's new, unique, and interesting. So let me find out more about that. Tell me more about that. And I always say that's how you know you hit it, right? And so really just consider that when you do this exercise and, doing the copious work to understand intimately beyond geographic, demographic stuff with your ideal customer or premium prospect, as I call them, and then really doing your competitive landscape homework to understand who else is saying things, who else is in your space, what are they offering, what are they saying, what are their products and services, how can I stand out, and then focusing on differentiating, and then you also including your proof points, your social proof, justifying or showing them that the proof is in the pudding, that you can definitely help somebody get to the other side, that transformation that they've always been looking for, and that you can guide them, right? And so when you can capture that curiosity in them, where they say to you, tell me more about that, that's how they get to know you, like you, and then trust you. And it's easy to stand out in your crowded market when you're able to solve for your customers' problems, right? Don't focus on your certifications or accreditations or any of that stuff. Again, that's just the cost of entry, if you will, to make sure that you're like, okay, yeah, you do know what you're doing. All right, well then how can you help me, right? Because that's really all that they're worried about. So when you can do that, you really move yourself into a position that is unique, that is addressing their concerns to the extent that they trust you enough to engage with you in a transaction. And so it starts. That's the goal. That's where you start that, the relationship, the rapport. And then hopefully you're always addressing and constantly looking at what's next. What can you do next for me? And therein lies the 3 tips that I have for you. Sounds like a lot, but really most people don't take time to really do the deep dive work, to really understand their target audience, to really understand their competitors intimately, to see what they're doing and how they're doing it. What are they saying? And then third and most is really standing out. Like, now that you know what your competition is doing, how are you saying something in a new way, something that's new, unique, and interesting that your prospect has not heard before, so much so that they'll say, tell me more about that. And that's what you want to get to. So those are my 3 tips. It's a lot of homework, totally worth it though, because once you have that nailed down, that really becomes a foundational platform for lead generation, and then ultimately bringing your prospects who turn into customers/clients into your world. And when you do that, there's a lot of other steps there that you can partake, such as surprise and delight. I'm super big on that. I love surprising and delighting. Like, who doesn't want to be delighted? So that's just a little extra tip, that when somebody has trusted you enough to want to engage with you in business, you definitely want to make sure, how am I surprising and delighting my clients? Again, that is all in the name of building that relationship and investing in the equity of that rapport in the relationship. All right, so that's it. Just thought that simple concepts that sometimes we gloss over, but are oh so important as a foundational structure to your business, that tried and true, these concepts will never go out of style. It is absolutely paramount that you consider that. And if I can help you with that, please let me know. Head on over to positioningtoprofit.com. I have some cool things coming up, but it all starts by going to positiontoprofit.com. You can find out more about my program. And if you are interested in my community, it's prolificcafe.com, PROLIFIC cafe, CAFE.com, where we congregate and talk about our businesses, and everybody is growing their category of one so that they can make the competition irrelevant. Why? Because they're finding their white space and we are adding value to our own ideal prospects. All right, there you have it. Hope this helped, and I look forward to seeing you. Let me know what you think about this or what questions you have or how I can support you in your work. Head on over to social. I am there, and I look forward to connecting with you. Till next time. All right. Thanks so much. Thank you so much for checking out the Positioning to Profit podcast. If you haven't already done so, please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new episodes. And also, it would mean the world to me if you would take a quick moment to leave a rating and review on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or your favorite podcast player. It really helps to get the word out about the podcast and, of course, the featured guests. And lastly, please make sure to connect with me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. I'm on all of them. And use hashtag positioning to profit so that I can search you out and connect that way too. All right. Thanks so much. See you next time.